Awesome. Good morning, Amy Lassen.
Good morning.
Hey, everybody. I'm Charlie Bengal Jr., CEO of Remax Allegiance, coming to you live from the capital of the world, Washington, D.C. And my co-host at Quiet D.C., sort of shut down D.C. And my co-host is Amy Lassen, an associate broker with Remax Properties in Colorado Springs, which is also kind of shut down, right? Colorado is very similar to the district. We're talking all things coronavirus this morning.
Yes.
So if you're watching this a year later, hopefully the situation is long done.
Yeah, good point. And it's
but-
St. Patty's Day, and it's a happier day for you a year from now.
Indeed, indeed. So all things coronavirus, kind of give you an update, Amy, as to our situation. Governor Larry Hogan of Maryland has been a pretty good leader in this whole thing. Mm-hmm. And he decided to close restaurants and bars except for carryout, right? The mayor of DC followed up several hours later. She seems to be following what he's doing several hours later, which is, I guess, better than nothing. So DC is in the same boat. Our offices are open for business, mm-hmm. And that's what we intend to do until we can't anymore. Right. I think your situation is similar in Colorado.
Yes. The governor called it yesterday, statewide.
I hate to spend the call wondering about what's going to happen next, but for those folks that are watching that are not aware of what's happened in the Bay Area, mm-hmm. I believe it's what the 6 counties around San Francisco, mm-hmm. they're basically on a total lockdown. You know, you can only be out on the street for essential purposes. I did see this morning that it was confirmed that an essential purpose is not showing or selling real estate. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I think preparing for the worst and hoping for the best is a pretty good mantra here. Yeah. I did go into a Facebook group. It was a Tom Ferry Facebook group this morning, and somebody said, you know, hey, are you guys still selling, right? And there were probably 100 responses, and I'm not kidding. 95 of them were yes and. Mm-hmm. Yes, and I got a new listing. Yes, and yes. I put 2 new buyers under contract over the weekend. I also, as you're aware, I spoke to a number of agents yesterday morning, inside and out of the Remax Allegiance ecosystem, and it was a discussion around, you know, what's going on, new listings, buyers under contract. So life is going on, and I think that we need to continue to let life go on, right? On a case-by-case basis. I had a coaching client that said to me, you know, I've got a 74-year-old lister, and he's been in and out of the hospital. He doesn't mm-hmm. want his house listed right now. Right. Makes sense to me. He probably shouldn't, right? Yeah. But if you're a buyer and you want to go look at homes and you're comfortable with that, and there's homes to look at, my take is go ahead and look at them as long as everybody's comfortable. So sure. I think it's business as usual until it can't be. And my fear is there are agents out there, either in my company or our markets, that are scared to death, crawl up in a ball in the corner, right? Thinking, let's just hope this thing goes away instead of being in action. Yeah. So that is a really, you know, I get on these shows, and it's a long tangent of Charlie just blabbering away, and here we are. So anyway, all things Corona, that's kind of my intro. What's yours? Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, I think you got us started. So now I want to talk about all the actions we can take. And I think maybe the first one to mention is we have to be respectful of everyone else's feelings. I also am a coach, just like you, Charlie, for those who are seeing our show for the first time. I talk to people all over the nation. People have all different opinions, everything from this is bogus to this is a tragedy. And so I think as agents, we need to be respectful of the opinions of those around us. We can't argue seriously. None of us are epidemiologists. So I don't think, I don't have a leg to stand on to tell someone they're right or wrong in their opinions, and I don't try. So all that we can do is prepare ourselves to provide the best possible service to those who still need it. You gave a good example of an elderly person who still wants to sell their home. I have a friend who just took one of those listings this week. She has a very proactive plan. They're only going to allow 1 day of showings. Now, in our market, that's kind of the way it's been going anyway.
Because it's so brisk. Yes.
Yeah, the
Yep.
pace of our market is so fast. You
Yep.
usually are under contract with multiple offers in a day, but they're being very calculated about this. This elderly woman is going to be away from the home for the day. Then they'll clean up after
Hmm.
and make sure she gets to come home and feel safe, because she felt a little uncomfortable, but she
Yeah.
does want to sell her home.
Good.
The other thing in my market is that buyers are seeing opportunities. Like, it was so hard for them to win the
Right.
bidding wars. Now they may have a fighting chance.
Hmm.
So some people are seeing it as opportunities. The other thing that I think, and we can maybe spend the whole rest of the call on this, is what if you don't have a client in the car? What can you do besides wring your hands? And every single one of us has been claiming all along that we were either too busy to put our systems in place, or not the highest and best use of my time, or
Right.
whatever it might be. And if you spend whatever time, if there's some downtime in your market, or if maybe you're even quarantined, we can leave you here with some really good step-by-step to position yourself so when the market comes roaring back, and it will,
I
because
agree.
the pent-up demand is outrageous, you'll be in the path of it. You shut yourself down, somebody else will get that business when it comes back.
Yeah, no, I agree entirely. And you and I spoke yesterday about, the good news in all of this is there was already pent up demand, right? I feel
Yeah,
like there's been pent up demand for some time, really since the
yeah,
Great Recession. We've not been building enough housing units, right? But we're not running a restaurant here, right? Restaurants, unfortunately, the business that they're going to lose, it's really hard to make that up, right? They're probably
mm,
not going to make that up. With us, if we stay in touch with our people,
yeah,
right? If we show that we care for the community leaders that we all are, and we're showing that,
yeah,
then these buyers and sellers are going to come roaring back, just like hopefully the stock market does when this whole thing, ends, right? So,
yeah,
no, I think that is a really good point. All is not lost here, and all will not be lost here.
yeah.
And, I think that that's important. So before we get into kind of what to do if you're not busy selling, I want to talk a little bit about some things that we can control.
Great.
And I want to talk a little bit about things that we do know. So
Mhm.
things that we do know, interest rates got a little weird last week, right? But overall, they're low,
Yeah.
right? And last week was a weird thing where basically there were so many mortgage-backed securities that hit the market, interest fell,
Mhm.
right? And when that happened, they had to raise the rates. That's reason number one. Reason number two
Mm,
is these lenders don't have enough personnel to close
yeah,
loans
yeah.
at 3%, right? And I think NAR was saying that that mortgage rates really should be about 2.5%. I don't know that we're ever going to see that.
Mhm.
I think it's probably hard to staff up in this environment right now.
Yeah.
But so that's what's going on with rates. But even though we had the spike last week, I noticed yesterday they had fallen back quite a bit, and
Mhm.
they're still historically low. So when we talk about like a rates spike, it's not like it went to 8%, So I think that that's something important to keep in mind. And we also know that inventory is low. So people that do want to transact, do they know that rates are low? Do they know that inventory is low? I don't think there's anything wrong with continuing to share market stats and facts as we have been throughout our
Sure.
careers.
Mhm.
You don't stop doing that in this
Right.
environment, right? Now, that doesn't mean that you're calling everybody with commission breath, right?
No.
If you've
No,
never
no.
shared this before, maybe now's not the time to start sharing it as the first point of your conversation, right?
Sure.
Call your people, love on them, tell them that you care, ask them what they need, right? You can post on Facebook, I'm young, I'm healthy, I've got access to a car and a grocery store. If you or somebody that you love needs something and you can't get it, let me know and I'll go get it for you.
Mhm.
Right? I think that goes a long way, and people tend to remember that. So things that we can control, actions,
Mhm.
our actions, we can control our actions and what
Yeah.
we do. And are we curled up in a ball as a lamb, as I've written to the associates of my company, or are we out there leading, prospecting, talking to our people, and being lions or lionesses, right? So we control our actions, we control our reactions. My God, Twitter is a great place for that really hyper local breaking news. And when I was a DC neighborhood politician, I was on Twitter and followed it a lot. And then when
Mm.
this whole pandemic thing struck, I started following it again. But I'll tell you,
Mm.
Twitter can really screw up your mindset, which we're going to talk about in a minute, and how you react to this avalanche of negative news
Sure.
is a problem, right? You really, I think, and the third piece that we control is mindset. And I was watching somebody this morning talk about this. His name's Peter Luft, and he's an executive at Remax. He talked about guarding your mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're exposed to all this bad news,
Mm-hmm.
Don't watch CNBC all day or CNN all day, because it is an avalanche of bad news. How are we feeding? And first of all, how are we reacting to the bad news? Because we have the ability to how we want to react, Amy.
Yeah.
And how do we guard and feed our mindset? What are we doing in the morning as part of perhaps our morning routine? Or maybe we need like an afternoon intervention of good stuff.
Yeah.
Is it a podcast? Is it a YouTube video? Is it following Tom Ferry on Instagram and getting some good quotes, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think it's easy for some to fall into this trap of the sky is falling and the world is ending.
Sure.
So comments on how would you guard your mindset? How do you feed your mindset with good stuff? Anything to add? You're really good at like honing in on the specifics, right?
Oh.
I'm more like the general idea guy, and then you're like, well, specifically, this is what I would do. So specifically, do you have things that maybe I've not suggested when it comes to mindset and the ability to control your actions and reactions?
Well, okay, each person is going to be different, because some of the people listening to us right now are super busy, right? They've got a bunch of appointments, they've got a lot of going on, and
business as usual.
To some degree, it's business as usual.
Yeah.
So I think in that space, how do you control your mindset? I think that's a little bit different than those of us who have been sent home and we're going, wait, what?
Right.
Watching too much news, like you said. I have a friend who is just such a negative Nelly, and I was sharing with her that we only have so much bandwidth, right? There's only so much that we can process at a time. And I said, if you would spend every waking hour speaking and breathing all the things that you want, rather than bemoaning the lack or whatever it is, then the rest of it just goes away. To some degree, when you fill what bandwidth you have with the good things. So I would say it's time for all of us to follow through on best practices that our brokers and coaches have told us all along. And that is, it's time to work from block schedule, right? You need to wake up at a certain time. You need to do your daily affirmations. You need to stay hydrated. You need to stretch your body. And then you need to jump in and do your lead gen, right? You need, some of my coaching clients are doing the 100 touches a week. And when I ask them how things are changing now with the virus, they're like, oh, I'm sticking with 100 touches, baby. And a lot of trainers and coaches say you have to have so many conversations, and so many conversations equal to closing. The thing that is neglected there is that go for the kill sales call, 20 sales calls, like that's the sort of end of the funnel. But at the top of the funnel is all the thoughtful touches, right? Commenting when their dog has knee surgery, or, checking in on their kid who got second in the track meet or whatever. So I'd say it's as much time as ever to get in your structured 100 touches. And I think if you get up every single day with a structured vision for what you're going to do, maybe this is something that we could add to the Allegiance Way, Charlie.
Yes, we need to. Yep, I was thinking the same thing. Yep.
We can create a schedule that you can follow. And here's the crack up thing, guys. This is what we should have been. There's no news. There's nothing new here. This is what we should have been doing all along.
This is the wake-up call.
This is the wake-up call.
This is the wake-up
I will
call,
tell you, I have a daughter who is in the service industry. She's lost her job yesterday. Like, there is nothing for her to do. They rolled up the sidewalks, and I called her, and she shocked me. She is giddy. She is so happy. She was so burnt out. I still don't know what the heck she's going to do, but she's seeing it as an opportunity. So all of us who were saying, I can't keep up, I can't do my
systems. Does she already live in your basement?
For good or ill, she has her own mortgage. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah. So the thing of it is, I think the way to keep your mind on the prize, the way you keep yourself positive, is to proactively fill your day, right?
I like it. Yep.
And the other thing is, and this is something I said to my mom, I said, Mom, I'm just working on a 2-year business plan. That's how this works. I'm just working on a 2-year business plan. All the things that I'm going to do right now are going to profit me when this lifts. Not everyone has the ability to do that. Some people live paycheck to paycheck. Most of us who are entrepreneurs and business owners do have a little bit of latitude.
Yeah.
So work on a 90-day plan, or like me, work on a 2-year business plan and start putting the things in place that you wished you had all along, so that you're there to provide above and beyond service when this comes roaring back.
Yeah, I have a coaching client in Dallas, and she was saying, a couple of weeks would be, that's great. I can get all the stuff done that I've wanted to get done.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that is a positive way to look at it. And I do think that all of us have things that we've wanted to get done.
Yeah.
And honestly, in a normal cycle, the downtime is holiday time, that we don't want to, work twice as hard. You want to be spending time with family during the holidays. So this might be a little bit of a, late winter, early spring slowdown that maybe we don't want, but I do think it's important to take advantage of it, like you said.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, but you know what? Practical and tactical, and I'm looking at the time. We have 12 minutes. And I'm wishing people could see this bulleted list, because you and I have been shooting out a few bullets. There's the things that you can control. That's definitely, we need, a bulleted list for that. And then there's what is your daily routine, and what are the systems that you need in place, right? But the other thing is, how do you handle this business, and what are the skills and the tools that you need to operate in a virtual world? And some of us have adapted more than others to that. You and I, Charlie, we coach via video, we do screen share, we do presentations. I teach classes for Remax Allegiance, and it's all online. They have, you guys have me at your brokerage every single week, and I live in Colorado. So you and I are maybe ahead of some agents with our ability to use these tools. But I want to say to everyone listening, Zoom accounts are free with certain, most software has a free entry level. So if you don't have something like a Zoom account, you can get that. You can learn to do screen share. You can use your Remax Allegiance listing presentation, your Remax Allegiance buyer presentation, and you can be doing a very thorough job of educating people remotely. Right. I have another friend who, she requires that her buyers do tons of online due diligence before they get in the car. And now she's going to be an absolute bully about it. She's like, from now on, they absolutely, they have to check the flood map. They have to Google Earth. Like everything has to be done before we bother to get in the car. And that's a really, all these things are best practices. Yeah. We're just upping our game.
Agreed. Good. Speaking of Zoom, I actually had a client this morning talk to me about, he's going to be doing socials via Zoom for his friends, right? So they're going to be playing poker via Zoom. So those of you that don't have a Zoom account, when you start getting larger groups, then you've got to pay, but one-on-one, like Amy said, is free. We have a Zoom 101 class every week. If you go to theallegianceway.com, click on events, you can sign up. We have a staff member that's literally waiting in a Zoom room to help you set up Zoom.
Yeah.
So, take advantage of that, whether you're with Remax Allegiance or not. We have some people that are watching this show right now that are not with Remax Allegiance because they've been commenting or liking. Just check out theallegianceway.com, click on events and join us and learn how to work Zoom, right? So it is an awfully powerful tool, and it being free is valuable. And I was reading this, what was I reading the other day? Oh, it was an article yesterday in the Washington Post about people working from home and having to do video conferences and stuff. And I don't know if anybody's paid attention, but Zoom and Clorox, I think, are like the two stocks that are up in the last 2 weeks, right? But they were lamenting, or they were talking about how they work and they do these calls without video. There was an avalanche, all the comments of the article, oh yeah, use less bandwidth. People don't need to see you. They can hear your voice. And I'm going, I was stunned at the number of people that were so totally wrong because the value that you get from video, first of all, it forces people to pay attention. That's interesting. And then, perhaps all the people that don't like video, it's like, they're playing with their dog or they're doing dishes or, whatever while they're on a call, right?
Yeah.
But being able to read somebody's facial expressions when you suggest something is so valuable, which is why Tom Ferry was the first guy to go video first. And it has been a game changer, as much as I hate the phrase. So those of you that are thinking, I'll just call my clients, call and check in on them, right? But your buyers and sellers to be able to have a video-based consultation is so much better than the phone. I cannot tell you the difference, right? It is such
Yeah.
a huge difference. And that was something that I emailed my associates about. Get familiar with video, right? For your listings. Do you have video for your listings, or do you do this photo montage? That is not video. Photo
Ah,
montage to music is not video. Can you do a video walkthrough of your listings? Do you have Matterport in your listings, right?
yep,
Or how are you adjusting, right? And there's some
yep,
agents that are advertising, this is what I'm doing that makes me different. So
yes,
anyway, another tangent.
yes.
But back to, how should our associates be spending, our agents be spending time when there's downtime? Like, what are the, block scheduling, good. We talked about doing more webinars,
Mhm,
right? We
mhm,
talked about doing a webinar on how to set up a true marketing plan,
mhm.
as in, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of the year.
Yep,
Here's a calendar. This is going to be the cost. This is the goal, right? This
yep.
is the return on the expected ROI. That doesn't take a long time. It takes some guidance. So I think doing something like that,
Mhm.
my guess is most real estate agents don't have that,
Yes, correct.
right? So comment on that a little bit.
Oh, well, see,
Sorry to put you on the spot, but
no, 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 you've totally put me on the spot, because now I'm going to talk about things that I want and you are the decision maker. So now we're both on the spot.
yeah,
I,
go.
I would I would love to do masterminds. So the mastermind at my brokerage, we've doubled. We're now meeting twice a week.
Okay.
But this is not a topical thing. This is
Yep.
a group that has been together for a couple of
Hmm.
years. But we're meeting twice a week because the pace of this has been so quick in our market.
Okay.
So we feel like 7 days is way too long to be able to check in with each other about
Got it.
coming soon and best practices and our
Yep.
interactive floor plan. And so I love the idea of really making the best use of this time with interactive masterminds.
Okay.
Yes, a webinar on how to get organized is a
Yeah.
wonderful thing. A webinar on marketing is a great thing, but we all know it's not habit forming to take a class.
Right.
Taking a class and getting an idea or whatever, getting inspired in the moment by the over caffeinated instructor, it just doesn't last. The helium leaks out of your balloon and you go back to your old habits. So I love the idea of those who are committed to growth and longevity, committing their time to being positive and supporting one another in implementing new habits in this time.
I like it. So the next mastermind for Remax Allegiance is this Friday, 10 to 11 a.m., arlingtonroom.com.
Woohoo!
I'd love to see, I always invite my Tom Ferry clients to that. I invite whoever wants to come. Hopefully we'll have a bigger crowd than usual, which will make me think that I need to have them more frequently, because right now we were having them in person once a month. That was axed, right? And then we were doing them online once a month. So I look forward to seeing the response to how this one goes on Friday online. I like the idea also of the webinars of, if you're committed to working from a plan, a marketing plan, let's get together and develop a marketing plan for you,
Yeah,
right? Because I
yeah,
do agree there are some folks that just go to classes and they don't implement anything, but they feel
yeah,
good that they went to class. And,
sure.
I want everybody to feel good, but I would love for people to actually implement in addition to just feeling good.
Yep.
Other thoughts today?
Well, okay, I think you made some really good suggestions about how to fill your batteries, right? There's incredibly good free stuff. We do not live with a lack of resources in this day and
Right.
age. It's an embarrassment of riches how many wonderful things are available online. Free training, free audiobooks. So I would stretch, move your body, right? Get your energy up. Dust to your favorite music, and
Yeah.
then start to fill your mind and your heart with the good things, because this will come back. Those of us who lived through the crash, it was tough to know when that would end,
Yep.
and it did come back. And I think we all said, boy, if I knew then what I know now. And we do. And if you're new to this industry and you're not quite sure what we're talking about, reach out to your broker, reach out to your coach. We're all here to help you have a positive experience and still have a great 2020. And I think most of us are going to have a busy last half.
I agree.
I think we're all going to hit our goals. It's just going to be kind of squished over there.
Yep.
So make this your systems building time and plan to have that be your transaction time.
Agreed. that almost sounds like a good place to just kind of leave it there, right?
Great,
We're
great.
actually a little bit early. We may be talking all things coronavirus again on the next show. We don't know. We always decide what we're going to talk about a few days before each show. So we're going to continue to roll with what's happening. If there's anything that Amy or I can do to support you, please reach out. Look for some updates to theallegianceway.com. Hope to see you on the mastermind on Friday at 10, arlingtonroom.com. And by the way, every week at, I think it's 9:10, you can go to theallegianceway.com and check events. I do a Monday morning call where we discuss what your goals are for the week. So if you need a Monday morning motivation and reset, right, join me, arlingtonroom.com. Check out the details again at the Allegiance Way. And it's free. These things are free, right? So there's no reason not to capitalize on them. So always good to see you, Amy. Good luck out there in Colorado,
Yeah.
and we'll see you next time. Thanks.
All right. Bye,
Take care.
everybody.
Bye-bye.